How's it going, guys? Today's a pretty serious topic. Haven't been videos on the channel recently because, like I said, unless I'm able to stay focused or have a topic that I think is worth discussing, I don't. I don't want to put out a video just because I'm supposed to. It leads to, for one, less people caring about the content, less meaning behind the content, and at the end of the day, it's just not as helpful. It's kind of like me doing it because I have to rather than having an important meaning behind it. Um, at the end of the day, I was talking to someone the other day, and he was talking to me about how he relapsed because his friend overdosed. And while I will never knock anyone for relapse, I will strongly say that it will be one of your weakest times, and honestly, very hard not to. Um, I've told you guys that I've lost my other half. The see the girl in the picture, and at the end of the day, it it's hard, right? But I don't believe I've discussed on the fact that I've had four extremely close friends pass away. So, like, people that one of them, like, okay, two of them, we called ourselves like I don't know, I think it was like the Crew. I mean, we just used to party together a lot, a lot of tripping, a lot of Molly, we had some good times though, and yeah, both of them passed, different times. Eric was the first to go, and then Jesse lived a couple years after that. Jesse was hard because when I got sober, I lost most of my heroin user friends. A lot of them either didn't show encouragement, didn't want me around, or just really didn't give a fuck. Some of them even looked down upon me for it, which was like really weird. Because I was never one like. I think I get it because a lot of people who once they get sober tend to bash addicts. Like they've achieved something better even though they were literally in the same state. I'll never do that because it doesn't make sense to me. I was fortunate enough to have things happen that made me a better person and be able to be sober at the end of the day. Whereas not everyone is given that opportunity. Um, and then I had a chick that, um, we only slept together once, but we talked a lot. And she always liked me, but I never liked her back. So, like, just not in that way. And she was a really good person. And, like, if I could have had feelings for her, honestly, I probably would have because she was extremely loyal. And honestly, she was pretty. Like, that's the weird thing is like, I don't know. At the end of the day, pheromones exist, I think is what it comes down to. There's some people that you are just naturally attracted to and some people that you aren't. Like, Marissa was nothing like my type. Like I usually go for I'm a skinny person, right? Like I have Crohn's, it makes me small. So I like someone who is, if not my size, like not much bigger. And not that Marissa was much bigger than me. I mean, to most guys, she would still be extremely tiny. Like she was curvy at the end of the day. And I don't mean curvy as in like curvy. I mean like curvy. Like she had the hourglass. She had the everything. I'm not gonna talk about her assets because I kind of find that disrespectful. But she had it all. All right, she was rocking. But I was like, she was when we met. I mean, I didn't know her natural hair color was brown, but it was. But like when we met, she was blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm pretty sure that's the only blonde hair, blue eyes girl I've ever dated in my entire life. I like dark hair, dark brown eyes, dark skin color, like that. That's always been my thing. She was like super white, blonde, and really pretty blue eyes. You know, I'm sure if you've watched my videos long enough, you've heard me reference her as pretty eyes. That's like literally all I called our whole relationship. I don't think like I called her by her name really much at all. I even like when we met on Tinder, the first thing I said is, I know you get this all the time, but oh my fucking god, pretty eyes. And yeah, she said thank you. We went back and forth for a bit, and it was wrap after that. I got way off topic there. Sorry when it comes to her. You know, still not over it. Still cry a lot. So if I think about it, it just takes me back. You know, because there are a lot of good times that I'll never get to have. Anyways, and then there was also my buddy Skip, and me and this dude were always close. Sadly, and this made it even harder when he passed. Our last words were harsh. It was a really fucking stupid argument too. It was over the dumbest fucking shit at the end of the day. That's why I don't hold any grudges, and I would definitely recommend that you. I'm not saying you gotta let people walk all over you because you don't, but at the end of the day, like tomorrow is not promised. Like I could only imagine. Okay, because like Skip was really hard because I had to accept the fact that our last words sucked. And, did he know I really loved him? Did he know how much I cared for him? Did he know that, like, he was, like, still my best friend? I was mad over it. It was at the end of the day, like, at the time, it seemed like a big deal. He did steal from me, but it wasn't him. He was really bad during that time. And, when you get that bad to where you're not functioning, you go out the window. That's why I referred to when I was really bad. There's a reason why I referred to that time of my that period of my life as Heroin Hank, because that person just wasn't me. Did I do those actions? Did I make those mistakes? Did I do those fuck ups? Hands down, but that person wasn't me. And I'm not gonna lie. Losing Eric definitely caused me to relapse, but I wasn't really clean at that point. Um, I believe Skip definitely caused me to relapse. That was like when I was fighting to be clean. And then Jesse, I was sober long enough for. And then Vanessa was after Marissa passed away. And at that point, if I'm not going to use over losing Marissa, I'm not going to use over losing a friend. It was just super sad how I found out because, like, I went to Messenger on Facebook and she didn't reply. And it was like never like her to not reply. So, like, 2 days later, I clicked on it and it says remembering. And obviously, I know what that means because that's what my girl's page looks like, And it just was like, fuck, dude. And now they're good people. Like, all of these people had amazing souls. Like, that, including my girl. So 5 really close people that were in my life, and they were really good people. Like Jesse, like I used to hustle hard for a decent amount of my life. So like a lot of people use me for what I had to offer. Like I didn't care about money. So like I just didn't. I had enough of it. It didn't matter. I didn't. It just didn't. So um yeah, there were a lot of fake friends, that were never my friend, and for the most part, I knew it. But some of them slipped under the radar, like I really thought we had a bond, and we definitely didn't. So it is what it is. But during that time in your life, you know, it's it can tear you to the core, especially if bad things are said. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's like one of the first questions I asked him, and if you're new to recovery, I think someone passing away is gonna cause you to relapse, probably no matter what if you're close to them. But if you got a couple months under your belt, um, I'm not saying it won't happen, but what will make it a lot more likely is if your last words were harsh. It becomes very hard to accept that because you have to, you know, you there's so many things that are gonna run through your head, like, did they know? Like, you're gonna have a lot of questions, and that's mainly because ones that'll never get answered, You'll never know, and then you have to find a way to live with yourself, and that becomes difficult, and that's where this is going. This is where it's doing that alone. I don't really know if it's possible. Um, I could give you like tips to avoid it, by consuming yourself in something else, but at the end of the day, like that's not gonna fix the root cause of the problem. Like if you had a close one that passed who your last words were harsh, like you need to go see somebody, whether it be a grief counselor or a real counselor. I think either or is a fine option. If you're already in counseling, why not go to your main counselor about it? But if you're not, there's grief counselors out there for free. You can go to a church. You can go, like, there's a way to get, even if it's not covered by insurance, if you don't have money to pay for it, like grief counselors you can find. There's meetings you can find usually. And they're not gonna fix it. They may, though, help you see things in a different light that you would not normally be able to come to that conclusion without otherwise. Like, I fucking hated myself for our last conversation with Skip to be so shitty because, like, dude, there was so, like, that kid, when I was all fucked up in a concert, they were kicking me out, and, like, thank God I didn't have any drugs left because I consumed them all, but I had a stack of cash in my wallet. And they thought I was a drug dealer, so they were trying to arrest me. They were like, he's like, no, dude, the kid just literally is an idiot, and if you can't tell, he's a consumer. Like he came here looking, he got rocked, and like I'll take him out. And the two other people that I went with, one I was dating at the time, they wanted to stay at the fucking show when it was my car. And if it wasn't for Skip, like I'd have probably got arrested that night. I was gone. I don't remember most of it. It was way beyond rocked. And he like picked me up, threw me over my shoulders, grabbed the wallet from the guard, like was like, yo, I got this, I'm taking them out. Went and got the two chicks that we were with and like made them leave. It was like, well, you can not leave if you want, but you're gonna have to find your own ride home then, because like I'm not leaving him, And that's what Skip did. My girl at the time didn't want to leave the fucking show. You feel me? Like, so that's the type of friend he was. And it was EDM show. We were all super stoked. It was like, at the time, it was like all we were rocking out to Scumbag by Bro Safari. And, when I die, fuck it, I want to go to hell. If you haven't heard it, I'm sure you've heard the Biggie original, but then the beat drops and it's like, it's a banger, And the song like just came out, and we're all super stoked to see him. And so yeah, Skip didn't give a fuck though, There were multiple times where I was rocked, and if he wasn't around, people probably would have robbed me. People probably would have taken advantage of me. But he protected me. He was like an older brother in that aspect, Sure, we did a lot of fucking dope together because we were both addicts, and to some people, they looked down upon him for that. But he had mad love for me, and I had mad love for him, and our friendship was genuine because when I got sober, that didn't affect it. He was super happy for me, He really wanted to get there one day, but it was, some people don't succeed, and some people also don't have the support around them like I do, like I'm lucky enough to have, And then, in all honesty, I had like Marissa at the end of the day. Like I was doing all right, but like she made it to where I didn't even want to think about using. So like I had an advantage most people aren't going to have. And that's why I say that like there's no easy fix when it comes to dealing with that. There is no like tricks you can do. Like at the end of the day, you need someone who can advise you like why it's okay, why they're going to be understanding of it, and why in the grander aspect of things, like you can't guarantee what's next after life, but no matter what, this is our human life, and that person, if they were really that close to you, and you're feeling this deep sense of loss and this real loss of self because you in part blame yourself and in two wish that your last words were shitty. At the end of the day, that is why Skip is the reason why that I probably didn't have she last words with Marissa, because I was a dick when I left, but I was like in the car and I walked back upstairs and I was like, I love you. I'll always be by your side. I'm a fucking idiot. I know. I'm sorry I can be a douchebag sometimes, but I'm worried, I don't ever want to lose you. I don't know what I'd do without you. Like I couldn't function. And here we are, almost a year later and I still can't function, right? So thank God I didn't have shitty last words. But I have dealt with a really close friend that did, and at the end of the day, um the conclusion that you'll come to eventually is that they know that you love them, and that one small fight was so minuscule to all of the beautiful memories that you guys shared and created together. All right, and it's going to be very easy to focus on that negative and use it to relapse, use it to push connections away, use it to go backwards in life. It is very easy to do that as a motivator, like to go backwards. But this is why I say grief counseling will help, is they'll find a way to, especially if you got a very pessimistic mind, like I do. I always view things like as the glass is half empty, not half full. It's a terrible way to live, and I've always struggled with that. And so obviously I viewed that very negatively. I had a very negative stigma on myself at the end of it. And, my counselor made me see that you are who you are. And, you know, he knew that. He knew at the end of the day it was some stupid fight. If he knew he was gonna die the next day, he probably would have mended things. You would have mended things. You would have fixed it, right? Like if you knew, but you never know. You never, right? Life happens in an instant. But that's why it's very important that you don't learn this lesson the hard way. Okay, like, dude, human shit that goes down is fucking pointless most of the time at the end of the day. Like, who the fuck cares if someone steals your shit or someone fucking, at the end of the day, yeah, it's annoying, pisses you off. It can sometimes really fuck you hard, but if that's someone you care about and that human life is lost, you will not give a fuck what they did, okay? You will only care about the fact that you said terrible things. That's what's gonna eat you, okay? You're not gonna justify it, be like, well, he did this. You're not gonna care what he did. Because at the end of the day, you had a connection with them. You cared about that person deeply. All right? So it doesn't matter what, like, we are humans. We make mistakes. That's why we have a conscience. Like, we mess up. It's like literally, it's like our DNA, it's like bound in us. Like, none of us are going to be perfect. It's literally impossible. Like, we are going to fuck up at points in our life and make mistakes, okay? But, like, that's one that, especially in early time recovery is, I mean, it's damn near impossible to not eat yourself alive over. And there is no, like, the only distraction that you're going to use is the one that you're not supposed to use, okay? There's not going to be some breathing technique that I can tell you about. There's not going to be meditation that's going to help you. I mean, maybe, but it sure as fuck didn't work for me, so I'm not going to pretend here and give you things that helped that didn't, okay? Grief counselor, get the fuck over there. Like, at the end of the day, could I have made this video shorter and probably said the same thing? Yes, but I wanted to give context to what I experienced so that I know that, like, this actually works. Like, it will, I'm not saying right away, but you will be able to get to a point, and it might not take that long. Like, I had a regular counselor, so maybe had I had a grief counselor, they've been able to get me to that conclusion a little bit faster. But, I mean, it took a little bit more time. And if you are in counseling, this is another thing that can help you, but it's called EMDR. If you are in counseling and that's something you're interested in, if you talk to her about it and she doesn't do it or he doesn't do it, they know someone in it who does. EMDR it's called eye movement rapid desensitization or something like that. EMDR, yeah, eye movement desensitization. I don't know. Look it up. Basically what it does is it allows your brain to, this is if grief counseling doesn't work. Like I said, you're gonna need a counselor for this because like they have to know a lot about you to do MDR, and it is an extensive process. Um, I used EMDR for other things in my life, not for this, but EMDR, for the things that it has worked for, I feel like it can work for anything, because at the end of the day, when we're awake, we have a certain side of our brain that works, okay, and when we're sleeping, there's the other side that works, and that's the nighttime side. It's like almost like your subconscious, and what EMDR allows for is for you to take that nighttime brain and activate it. And with the help of a counselor who's going to guide you through this, like you're going to live that moment or memory very vividly. It is going to be happening in real time. Okay. So whether you're going over the death of a person or the last moment you had with them that sucked, okay, you're going to feel like that's happening right fucking now. Okay. But that's why I say they have to know everything about you, because they have to know how to guide you out of it and how to help you while you're going through that. Because what their job is you're telling the story, right? And they're simply trying, because that part of your mind you can't access, okay? So when that's created, when that's embedded into your mind, all right, there's nothing you can do about it. You either find a way to deal with it or EMDR, because at the end of the day, you can't access that side of your brain. So how are you supposed to fix something if you can't access that side to fix it? That's why EMDR works, is because it activates that side during daytime. And then what she's going to do is, instead of, man, I feel so shitty because I said these last words that were horrible, right? She's going to make you realize that, yeah, those last words did suck. Okay, and they, you know, it wasn't right at the end of the day. But was that all that there was between you guys? Weren't there so many more moments that matters so much more than that? And basically what it does is it takes a memory that is consuming you, really destroying you or eating you alive, and it essentially allows them to put a different perspective on it. And then like something that totally tears you apart. And um full disclosure, a friend of mine used it for rape. Uh, and that's something that's very hard for people to get over. I could only imagine. I've never experienced myself. I've had a lot of friends go through it. I've had multiple girlfriends go through it. And it usually sticks with them. You know, it's something that they're unable to conquer themselves, typically. And after they were able to do EMDR, now I met her through counseling. Like we just chatted, and like our appointments were like around the same time. So, you know, we would bullshit and coming in and out, and you know, it's not like we were super close, but like she's actually the one who told me about EMDR, because I was talking about all the things that like, you know, like, dude, I feel like I can just never fix these. Like they're just so ingrained in me that like, no matter how much talk therapy, no matter what breathing process, no matter how much meditation I try, no matter how much I try to fix this, like it's always the same. And that is when she talked about EMDR and was like, you should really talk to your counselor about it. And luckily enough for me, the counselor that I had actually had experience with it, and it was already like super into it, and had EMDR done on herself for her own reasons that she was unable to disclose. But they were terrible. And how she described it to me when it first happened is, what it'll make you do is you'll still be like, that sucked, but it's not gonna be, damn, this is ruining my fucking life suck, right? It's gonna be like, dude, that person was a shitty human. Like, I'm gonna use the rape example, right? Because that's exactly what this girl told me, is how she felt after. Before, she blamed herself. She felt like she put herself in that situation, and I know that happens with a lot of girls, so I'm sure she wasn't lying about it. And like, she genuinely blamed herself for this man forcing on her. And like, no matter how much would be like, dude, that's fucked up. Like, that's not It's not how it's supposed to work. For whatever reason, that's typically what happens when that happens to someone. They always blame themselves, and it is really fucking sad because I don't give a fuck if you had 15,000 drinks. I don't give a fuck, you know, what you were wearing. I don't give a fuck where you were at. I don't give a fuck what intentions they thought you had. I don't give a fuck if you started sucking their dick and then was like, you know what? I don't want to do anything. And then tried to walk up and walk away. And they're like, fuck you, you're doing something. Like, it doesn't matter, okay? If the word is said, it's said, right? And no, I could preach that all I wanted. And it just didn't hit her, you know? Like, at the end of the day, she still blamed herself. After EMDR, she realized the truth. That motherfucker's a piece of shit. Like, he shouldn't have done what he did. There's no excuse for it, all right? It doesn't matter how much you drank, what you wore, where you were at, what he thought was going on, okay? When someone forces themselves on you, and I'm sorry, you can tell I'm getting very angry when it comes to this. This is a topic I try not to discuss this because I've had multiple ex-girlfriends who I know for a fact were raped, and it's so bad that I usually how I find out about this is not because they're like, "Oh, I want to tell you about it." Okay, how I found out about it is there's something that'll happen during our relationship. Sometimes it's during sex. Sometimes it's talking about sex. Sometimes it's just we're talking about this and just the way she reacts to certain things. I like have a sixth fucking sense for it. When Marissa told me, I'm pretty sure I was one of the only people that ever knew. At the end of the day, um, she's not alive, so I don't think that she'd hate me for saying it, and she shouldn't be ashamed because it wasn't her fault. So, but she felt like it wasn't. Oh, that made me so angry. Like I begged her for the fucking address. Like I would, if I had the opportunity, I would just fucking put a bullet through the motherfucker's head. Like when she told me that story, it fucking ripped me apart, and they all ripped me apart. But like this is the love of my life, you know, and it was fucked up. Okay, so I have a real hatred for like that kind of behavior, and I know most people do, but like it fucking just destroys a human soul. Like it's very hard for them to accept, you know, and that's where things that are like that deep that no matter what you do, you can't escape. That's where EMDR will really make a difference, and that's where that can help you. This video is way too long though, and I made my point. And it's as simple as it is. It's grief counseling, and if you're willing to try it and put in the effort, I think EMDR could do amazing things. Other than that, like there is no magic cure for that type of pain. So you're either gonna have to go through it and handle it yourself, which I don't even know if possible, and if it is, it's going to be very difficult. And if you're early on your recovery, it's going to likely lead to you to relapse. You know, there's no shame in getting help, like especially when it comes to that. You know, like some stuff is deep. You know, having a fight with someone that you deeply cared about, and then them no longer being on this earth is going to fuck anybody up. It doesn't matter who they are. And if you're a drug addict, you know I can fix this right now. Not permanently, but you know you have that option, right? So, yeah, it's going to be a fucking, you're going to want to relapse, all right? Like, there's no denying it. Like, it's going to run through your mind. You're going to be thinking about it. You know that could instantly take that pain away that you're dealing with. That's why I'm telling you what worked and not what you're, I think, really are. I'm sure there are other things out there, but as far as if you want like a real result that you can like count on and not just hope that something works out, yeah, grief counseling and EMDR especially, I'm really adamant about that. I suggest you do your own research into it. If you want me to do a video on EMDR and explain more about it, how I found out about the process, just shoot a comment, let me know. But I'm sorry for the length on this one, and I definitely got a little bit off topic, but it could be a lifesaver. So And most importantly, don't beat yourself up about relapse if you do fuck up. I really noticed a trend that with at least the people that have talked to me about it, like they really beat themselves down, and that's not going to help anything. It's more than likely going to push you into further relapsing, because it's very hard to, I guess, like take that energy and turn it positive. It's you're going to continue to spiral downwards, and it's not good. It's not good for you. It's not good for your family's health. It's not good for the people that love you. And in the grand scheme of things, and this is the most important thing, if you made it to the end, I'm glad you did. They know you love them wherever they are. I don't care what you believe. I have different beliefs than a lot of people. I've experienced two near death experiences that really changed my perspective. So if most people would consider my beliefs crazy, but I my heart stopped. So like my brain wasn't working. So the shit I seen wasn't made up because I was out of my body, you know? Like I was, because I wasn't alive. Like when that happens, you're not, like your brain's not, you're not making some vision in your brain. Like you're not there anymore, bro. Like you're, like there's no beat, you're out. So it'll never recommend anyone to fucking try and find that experience, but yeah. At the end of the day, that person knows you love them. I'm telling you. They're probably, if you're crying about it right now, they're probably trying really hard to let you know that it's okay and that they love you and they want to reach out. But it's damn near impossible to connect to the dead unless you A, have that ability, or B, go see a psychic. So, oh, I didn't even mention that. If you're not too against it, psychic, great option. Um, Finding one that's not fake, very, very difficult, but they are out there. And if you do enough research, you're going to kind of agree that there's no way that this could be fraud, because the things that this person will say, only you and that other person spoke about. You don't want you don't want to hear like, oh, they really loved you or they really care or some just BS bullshit. Like a real psychic's going to tell you some shit that they would say, and not only they would say, but they're going to be communicating with that other person, right? And that other person knows how skeptical you are about this and how you don't believe in any of this shit anyways. So they're going to tell the psychic something that only you two shared, that only you two knew, okay? And I can say this from experience because I saw the psychic after Marissa passed because I couldn't deal with it. And sure as shit, things were said. Not only were they said the way she would say them, there were certain things that, like, I don't want to disclose too much of this, but that was very personal that only me and her shared, and he was able to replicate that. It was just multiple. After that experience, it really opened my eyes to the possibility that this world isn't as simple as it seems, and I definitely am a believer of life after death. So that is another option that I'm going to mention probably in the description, because some of you will definitely not make it to the end of the video. And I understand your skepticism, but at the end of the day, what do you got to lose? Like, if you really want to succeed and continue on the path you're on, you got to do something different, right? So consider it. That's all I'm saying. If you did make it to the end of the video, all right, I'd appreciate the subscription, the sharing, especially if there's anyone that you know is going through this situation that may hear to these words. And if you want to know more about EMDR, maybe my personal experiences or just like what it is, how it works, so you can know for your own sake, then by all means. The psychic experience with Marissa, I'm not willing to talk about. Go have your own psychic experience. There are people out there for that. And then you can decide for yourself how you feel about that. So, yeah, like I said, if you made it this far, like and subscribe would mean a lot to me. If it resonated with you, hit me up with a comment. If you got a question, if there are any things that you think that you want help with, or maybe I can put a perspective on. That's what this channel's about. Okay, I'm never gonna be famous. It's never gonna be that big. If I ever even hit like 100, 150 followers, pretty crazy, but the point is to connect with as many people as I possibly can, because for one, not only for the people, but this is also for myself at this point, because there aren't many things that are keeping me motivated to even want to be on this planet in the first place. Like, I lost the person that I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with, and now I have to spend the rest of my life alone. That's a hard pill to swallow at the end of the day. Um, but I know that that's what she would want, so I have to at least try. But yeah, I'm getting way off topic again. So thank you guys. I hope something resonated, and I hope some good comes out of this. I love y'all. Bye bye.